What up, YouTube? It's your boy Luke for Prez, back with yet another video for you guys. Today, I'm gonna keep it really simple. This video is all about my favorite ways to overcome beat block. I think now would be a great time to go over this, as we all have some extra time on our hands. We're probably at home pursuing our passions, hopefully, or learning some new skills. I know for me, at least, nothing can be more frustrating than when I'm ready to go. I have the time devoted and the energy and everything ready for making music, and then I just can't come up with anything. It's the most frustrating feeling in the world. I'm sure people out there watching this can relate. So I'm just gonna cover some of my favorite techniques that I've discovered over time that help me get out of that funk and get back into making music. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. I'm gonna be posting a bunch of new beats and new tutorial videos and all types of stuff here going forward. I'm really trying to double down during this downtime that we all have right now. So hopefully you can follow me on this journey and see where we can end up. So let's dive into this thing. Really, what all of these tips are about is finding a starting point, finding that initial spark of creativity that can then spread like wildfire. I know that for my process, at least, that's really all it takes for me to snap out of beat block and just start attacking a new project. Once you get over that initial hump, it's sort of like a momentum thing where just a boulder is rolling downhill. It becomes easier once you get over the top. You know what I'm saying? Basically, all of these tips I'm about to go over help with that process of just at least sparking an initial inclination of creativity to get things rolling. And quick disclaimer, these aren't in any orders of effectiveness or anything. I'm just kind of freestyling it a little bit. So the first tip to overcoming beat block is going on YouTube and browsing through other producers' beats. This is something that I do on basically a daily basis, just to kind of see what else is out there, to maybe spark some ideas in my own head, and also just to make sure that I'm staying up on the latest trends in music. But it's especially valuable if I'm experiencing beat block. I'll go online, browse through some beats, and before I know it, I've come across some kind of vibe that inspires me, and I'll open up Logic and I'll be able to get to work. This can also have an additional benefit if you take the time to leave a genuine comment on the dope beats that you encounter. It's going to encourage people to come back to your channel, and you might get some extra engagement out of it, as well as just some icing on the cake, if you will. The second tip that I have for you is kind of in the same vein as the first one. You don't have to go any further than that same YouTube tab that you have open, and that is to watch beat making tutorials on YouTube. I have a couple on my channel currently. I'm gonna have some more very soon, and obviously it's kind of an exploding niche. There's a million different really talented producers that are out there sharing their sauce with the world through tutorials. The great thing about this as well is there are tutorials for every tiny element of beat making out there. So if you're having trouble with your drums or with your 808s specifically, there's endless tutorials for that. If you're having difficulty coming up with melodies or making them sound good, that's a whole other niche that you can explore as well. And I find that really just watching one or two of these things is enough to just kind of get me in a specific mode to be able to be productive and start making beats again. Another technique to overcome beat block that I've found to be effective is giving yourself permission to take an extended break. I'm not talking about like weeks or months necessarily, but sometimes stepping away from your music for a couple of days to kind of clear your head and restart can be a great way of regaining some of those creative juices that you might be lacking for whatever reason. It could be burnout. I know for me, I try to make new music every single day. That can definitely end up being pretty mentally exhausting. So it's a good idea to once in a while take a break, do something else, get your mind off of music, reset yourself, and then after that break, when you come back, I think you will find that you have a newly heightened sense of creativity and you'll be ready to attack whatever project was maybe giving you trouble just a few days earlier. Another technique that I found to be extremely effective is listening to some of my favorite music that inspired me to start producing in the first place. Reminding myself of why I'm doing this at all is sometimes a really good way of restarting your creative brain. Maybe you can even decide to recreate one of your favorite beats from a popular song, and that could serve as a nice starting point for getting things popping off again. This next one is a bit controversial, and it's something that I actually covered a bit in my previous video, but I'm gonna double down on this viewpoint here for you guys, and that's to not be afraid to use loops or MIDI files. There is no better way to get the ball rolling than to have a loop in place that you're really feeling that will immediately spark some kind of creativity in your brain that you can then build upon and create a full beat with. I know some people are opposed to using loops and they want to have everything done, totally by themselves. And that is a viewpoint that I totally understand and actually agree with to a certain degree. But again, if I'm really, really struggling, if there's just no way that I can come up with something on my own, that's when I'll go and I'll start browsing loops or MIDI files that I've downloaded, and those can serve as good building blocks. And the cool thing with loops is, even though there's some kind of pre-recorded arrangement that you're working with, the sky's the limit as far as the customization that you can put onto that loop. So by the end of the beat that you're making, it could sound totally different and completely unique to you. So don't be afraid to give that a try, especially if you're encountering some severe beat block. Just go for it. Another thing that I recommend trying is to approach a new beat in a different way than is normal to your typical process. So like if you typically start with the melody and then do the drums, try starting with the drums first and then building the melody around the drums, or vice versa. Sometimes that will be kind of a backdoor way into creating something that you wouldn't have expected. And the final tip that I have for you guys today is to not be afraid to invest in new plugins that you can then use to make new beats with. I've found that every time I finally make the decision to buy a new synth or a new plugin, I'm extremely excited and anxious to use it and see how I can apply it within my beats. And that usually can serve as a great starting point for a new project that I might be working on. So that's basically it, guys. It's just a lot of common sense stuff, but hopefully there might be one or two things in here that you may not have thought about initially, and maybe you can try to overcome any beat block that you might be experiencing. Let me know in the comments if there are any other techniques that you use effectively to overcome beat block. I'm actually really interested in learning some more. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Hope everybody is staying safe out there, staying healthy, and let's make some great music today. Peace.